Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video, and today we are going to do a character guide on Palom. So Palom is basically a magic attacking ice damage dealer with a few extra things in his kit, but basically he's just meant to be like a little damage dealer, right? So in this video we'll look at his artifacts, his spheres, and then we'll do a showcase and kind of explain how he works. The one thing to keep in mind with Palom is that for force enhancements, he's got the standard setup, so he's not a force charger, so no crazy recommendations there other than if you really like them, you typically want a full invest, or you go to at least 23 if you want them to help charge the gauge like a normal character would. And that's basically it there. But Palom, you either are going to like him and use him and want to force charge him or not. I would say he's not like a meta defining character or anything like that, so unless he's a favorite or you really like him, I usually don't recommend you would invest in him that heavily, but he is a pretty cool character, so you'll see how he works in this kit. If you like his playstyle, you might want to invest in him. Any character pretty much is viable as long as you're willing to invest in them, so always just keep that in mind, right? So for his artifacts, what you want to do is you want to go attack 108 and buff attack up on his artifacts. And the reason why is his LD passive gives him a lot of max brave. So you actually can stack more focus, he gets a lot of brave damage from it already, so you can really focus on attack because he's got a lot of brave damage built into his kit. Same thing, so you could do attack 108 max brave 330 as well, but attack 108 and buff attack up is the better way to go because you really want to just go all in on attack with him. So same thing with the spheres. So let's go into his spheres really quick. So for the spheres, I normally recommend attack and brave damage, but he has a lot of brave damage baked into his kit. So what you want to do is really just maximize on attack. Now, Palom does hit weakness damage, so you can use weakness damage spheres, or you can use just generic attack spheres. He is a magic damage dealer, so you could go magic attack, right? So what I did here was I did Golbez. It's just one that when you attack weakness damage, it just keeps raising his attack a little bit. And then I have Aerith here. Aerith is one of the better magic attack spheres in the game, and I actually have a lot of refined Aerith spheres, so I decided to throw that on there as well. It's going to be based on what you have, but basically, if you can get attack or magic attack, those are the two you would really want to prioritize with Palom. On the E slot, you also want to go with an attack sphere, unless you want to have, like a specific debuff on him for whatever reason, or you want a poison on him or something like that. Something that does work well on Palom, actually, I'll throw it, is Vanille Sphere. Vanille Sphere actually is a really good shout for Palom. For those of you unfamiliar with Vanille Sphere, basically what it does is if you break a target, you basically cleanse one of their buffs off of them. Or you dispel one, right? Which is really good. The reason why it works well on Palom is one of those Unbreak free turn characters. So Palom can break on demand, which comboed with Vanille Sphere can be really, really good for just wiping off enemy buffs, right? So if you really want to heavy invest Palom, like Vanille is actually probably one of the best ones you can do. Otherwise, you just go with an attack sphere. So you could do something like Seymour or Yuffie. So I put Yuffie's on there as well. But if it were me, and like I was going all in on Palom and he was like one of my favorites and I was going to use him a lot, I probably honestly would put Vanille on, personally. That's just what I would do. But otherwise, just throw an attack sphere on there, right? So that's the spheres there. So let's go ahead. We're going to hop into a little showcase here. So I'm just going to use Cam, Penelo, and Palom. I'm not going to do any like crazy force time shenanigans here. I'm just going to show off the kit so you can see how he works. And then if you want to try him out in some more optimal situations, you can do that. But let's go ahead. I'm just going to hop into this first Shinryu fight. This has been working pretty well as a decent little showcase fight. Just because they don't really do anything too crazy to try to kill me. They just put on like an aura poison that doesn't really bother me that much. So I'm pretty good here. Cam's always nice to run too, just because I can just put on instant paralyze and I really don't have to worry about the enemies really doing anything to me. So we'll kind of hop into it that way. So with Cam, I am just gonna pop his burst effect right away, and then we'll just keep the enemies paralyzed. Cam might end up being a new staple for my showcases, just because if the enemies are always paralyzed, I really don't have to worry about them messing with my showcase. So we'll see moving forward how that looks. But really the purpose of the showcase is just to explain the kit, show you how it works, not necessarily to get the highest numbers I can with the character, but just to kind of show you how they work. We will just do a little bit of buffing here with Penelo. We'll just throw a couple of those on, and then we'll just hop in and go to Palom's turn here. All right, so we'll do that. All right, so the first thing to keep in mind is that Palom is a break, re-break character. So basically when he, on his initial turn, if he breaks, he will get a free turn. If he is on a free turn and breaks again, he will not get a free turn unless you interrupt it with like an AA or something like that, right? Palom, you always want to start with the EX. So we're going to put the EX on right away. What the EX does is basically his 15 and 35 CP, one gives like a really fat attack buff, one gives a really good max brave buff. Well, the EX gives both of those. So you just get both of his good buffs right away. And then it does Ice Enchant and Ice and Peril. So it's really important that you kind of get that right away, right? The other thing that he gets is, so that skill that I told you about, we'll just do this. That skill that I told you about where he can break and get a free turn, that comes from the LD buff. So you want to make sure you keep that on. So that's the Twin Resolve buff. So you want to make sure that you keep that upgraded. Now, the other thing about Palom is he has upgradable skills. So his skills are all going to start at base form. And then what they're going to do is each time he uses them, they're going to plus up to double plus. So his 15, his 35, and his LD all do that, okay? The big thing with his LD is that each time it pluses up, it just does more damage, and then his buff lasts longer. So it's an 8 turn, then a 12 turn, then a 16 turn buff on the LD. So we'll go ahead and do that next so you guys can all see that. We'll just go ahead and let Cam's turn go here. All right. So once you do that, basically the way you play Palom is you want to upkeep the LD buff. And then the other thing is you're going to notice he has very limited skill uses. You can see the Ice Crystal has a lot, but Bluff he's only got 3. Like, it's very low skill use. So he does get a transformative HP plus, which is that dual cast. So you periodically will want to be using that just to save some of your skill uses. And it's not a bad attack either. But let's go ahead and we'll just do the LD. And then you can see the AA there, so we'll get the LD on. The AA is actually an ice attack, and he's got 3 of them, right? So this is really good for chaining turns. And you can see the LD also unbreaks. So the LD there, it unbreaks, does a big attack, extends all of his buffs, and then gives him that really important Twin Resolve buff. Also does an ice enchant down on the enemies, right? So now we just broke and we got a free turn, right? So now if I wanted to, I could use the AA and I could chain off another free turn. Just make sure with the AA you don't actually break an enemy with it, because then you're wasting your free turn. Because remember, you get a free turn from breaking. So what you do is if you just broke, you're on a free turn. We're going to use the AA. It's just going to do a nice little attack here. But now that kind of broke up, it like used up his free turn. So now he's on a normal turn. So now if I break again, I could go ahead and get another turn, right? So if I use like Bluff, so Bluff, his Great Mycelian Ice Crystal, they both unbreak as well as the LD. So he's got a ton of like unbreaking stuff, right? So let's try to use Bluff here. So see, it unbroke, and then he got the free attack there. And so now his Bluff is going to change into Bluff Plus, okay? So now what I'll do, I'll chain off attacks just to help me demo the kit, right? So we'll just do another Blizzard Burst here. So now I could do another unbreak attack if I wanted to. Okay. And so now what I could do is I could use my Mycelian Ice Crystal. This is also an unbreak. And so you can see he can just break on demand. So he's actually a very, very good candidate for Vanille Sphere, like I said. And then we'll just show off this dual cast. So once again, you can use this dual cast. Very decent little attack there. Now, the damage wasn't crazy there, but mine is not heavily invested. Mine's got the bare minimum armor. He's just got the base LD. No Ultima weapon. So you can definitely make Palom look a lot better, right? So we'll go ahead. We'll just attack through really quick here. Get that going. And then we'll go ahead and just do this. So the EX, you'll typically want to do that when it comes up, like I said, because you get like both of your main buffs. You get the Ice Enchant, you get the Ice and Peril, right? All right, and so dual cast we still have, but you want to typically use that when it's the plus version. We've already used the EX. We've got Bluff and Mycelian Ice Crystal, and then you can see the LD. They all get pluses on them, right? So as we get the pluses, they're going to get stronger and stronger. So with Bluff, basically it has a Brave gain of 220. This one would be 240 and then 270. And then it just does the attack. So it just gets better Brave gains. Mycelian Ice Crystal, once again, also will Unbreak, and then just does more HP dumps as you get the plus versions on. So let's do Mycelian Ice Crystal. Okay. Extra turn from Break. So what we'll do is I'm going to split it up with an AA here. And then we'll do Mycelian Ice Crystal plus, which is going to break again. And then this will be like the strongest version of it. And this one should do 4 HP dumps. So let's go ahead and do that. Yep, more dumps. 400k with some splash. Not too bad. Okay. And then we can do, sure, we'll do Stardust here just to refresh all that. And then once again, just keep your eye on his Twin Cast buff, because then you want to make sure you keep that up from the LD, right? So we'll just attack through here. And then what we'll do is we'll maybe try using the LD a couple times so you can see the plus versions of those. But basically it just improves on the amount of HP dumps that it does. Okay, so here, sure, let's just classification. That's fine. And enemies are just never doing anything, which is awesome. Okay. So here, this is a good example of like a turn, what you could do. So you can see we're starting his turn and we have an enemy that isn't broken. So a really good way to start is you can just start with dual cast because it's free. You're going to get the break and you're going to get a free turn right after, right? So when you kind of see that, that's a pretty good indication to just do dual cast. And then what we'll do is we'll do the LD, which is going to unbreak. Now we have the plus version, so it's going to get stronger with each one. And then after this, it's going to go to the plus version. So you can also kind of use Palom in like a delay strategy, because when you're unbreaking so much, you're pushing back a lot from the breaks, right? So we'll go ahead and attack again really quick just to get to his turn. Yep, we'll just do this. Okay, and then we'll show you like the double plus version of his LD, and then we'll try to get the double plus version of his 35 also. Okay, so here's the LD double plus version. This is going to break both of them. There we go. So yeah, a lot more dumps there. That was 500k AoE. Once again, pretty minimum build Palom that I've got here. I only have his force enhancements up to 10, by the way. So if you have the force enhancements up to 30, plus you go all in on the armor, you go into ultimate weapon, like the damage is going up a ton. So don't be discouraged by the damage. If you like them, definitely like give it a go, right? And then here, let's go ahead and do the Great Mycelian Ice Crystal. Yep, we got the break and then the attack. And then we got to keep upgrading that sucker. So let's get his turn up again. Let these guys just be paralyzed beyond belief. Okay. So it went from, yeah, and then we still have the Great Mycelian Ice Crystal. Yep, so we'll just keep going with that, and we're just throwing that down. So that's basically it. So once again, to summarize Palom, he's an unbreak free turn character. His skills kind of plus up as you use them. They get stronger and stronger, so we can go bluff up to bluff plus here. You really want to maintain that LD buff. He gets a lot from that. And that's basically it. He's an ice damage, ice enchant. He's a pretty simple character to play. Once again, you just want to open with that EX, and then from there, you're just basically managing your buffs and all that, right? So here, we'll end with the bluff double plus, just so you can see that. But he does have a lot of unbreak. So if, like I said, if you're willing to go in with the Vanille Sphere, I actually really do like the Vanille Sphere on him. So anyways, there you go, guys. That's Palom. If you guys have any other questions on any parts of the game, I do have a Discord. Feel free to hop in and join my Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.